Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight Podcast, presented by CVG. I'm your host, Sarah Brookbank. Today on the podcast, we are joined by Master Provisions' new president, Shane Armstrong. Shane highlights their ongoing mission and what the future holds for Master Provisions. We are also joined by Lee Crume of NKY Growth Partnerships, who highlights the William T. Bill Robinson III Northern Kentucky Economic Development Award. This award is one of the many that will be handed out at annual dinner presented by Fifth Third Bank on September 14th. This annual award celebration highlights the year's accomplishments in the Northern Kentucky business community. You can register now for this event at nkychamber.com/annual dinner. Like we've said, this is one of the most exciting nights of the year. You won't want to miss out. Thank you to our podcast sponsors, CVG, our title sponsor, Crew Consulting, our digital sponsor, and our episode sponsor, Horan. Let's go hear from those sponsors and meet our members of the week, and I will be back with this week's guests.
Why would you travel to England?
For football.
To go or not to go?
That is an easy question.
To visit the land of Shakespeare.
To take in all the sights.
Authentic fish and chips.
To experience arts and culture.
2 words, British Open.
To visit my family.
Same reason I go anywhere. For a pint of beer. To start my trip through Europe.
Whatever your reason, there's no better time than now.
Ranking on Google Search and Maps is easy to understand, but hard to do. It requires constant effort and attention, uploading new photos, responding to Google reviews, writing weekly posts, and checking suggested updates. Google listing optimization takes experience and time, and there are no shortcuts. Crew gives your Google My Business account the steady, consistent attention it needs to be effective, optimizing, updating, and expanding critical content every single week. From local retail stores to large regional networks, Crew generates content, establishes benchmarks, and creates dramatic, measurable increases in engagement. So what can Crew do for your business? More calls, more clicks, more clients.
Hi, everyone. Today on the podcast, we are joined by Lee Crume of NKY. Today, we are talking about your annual dinner award honoree. It is the William T. Bill Robinson III Northern Kentucky Economic Development Award winner. It's a mouthful.
It is. And you did a great job. You nailed the intro. So.
I try every year to prep for this award because it's just got a very long name, but it is a very important award. So talk to us about our 2023 award winner.
Yeah, well, first, tell you a little bit about the award. So the award is given annually to a person, individual, or organization that has made significant contributions to economic development in the community. The initial year recognized Bill Robinson for his contributions, and since then has recognized people like my predecessor, Dan Taberke. We recognized Gene Shore. We easy for me to say, right?
Right.
We recognized Bill Butler, and then last year was Representative Sal Santoro. So really a great group of previous honorees, and we're thrilled to add to the list this year Paul Hemmer Jr., obviously of the Paul Hemmer Companies.
Right.
We think Paul has just had a wonderful career, still having a wonderful career, and the company just doing tremendous work in the community. So we're thrilled to honor Paul this year.
Right. Such a pillar in our community, the Paul Hemmer Company and Paul Hemmer Jr. himself. So tell us a little bit about Paul and why you guys chose to honor him this year.
Yeah, they're just, as you said, to use the word pillar, you think of the organization and Paul as the face of it. You think about integrity, you think about honesty, you think about building relationships with organizations. And I was fortunate enough to see him and Brian Papke, the former president of Mazak, big company in Florence in the Northern Kentucky Industrial Park. And Brian telling the story how over 40 years they had partnered with the Hemmer Company to build and expand, and how they really were instrumental in helping them grow in our community. And I think that's really a great example of what the Hemmers do in terms of building these lasting relationships with the community and with companies so that everybody ultimately ends up with a really successful project.
Yeah, that is so exciting. And like you said, just really great people in our community, building relationships, building the community literally from the ground up. Yep. At times it feels like.
And by the way, in doing it for a long time.
Right.
The Himmer Company celebrated over 100 years.
Right.
I believe that was last year. They were instrumental when you think about our success in this community. The Northern Kentucky Industrial Park started in the late 60s. The Himmer Company took the last tracts of land of that in the early 70s, so 50 years ago, and finished out building that. So, you think about just that element, 50 years of industrial development in that space in our community alone. It's really an unbelievable legacy.
Yeah, it's incredible. And like you said, I'm sure you guys see them a lot all around working with the partners that you guys are bringing here to Northern Kentucky. It's great to know that we have so many organizations in Northern Kentucky working together so hard. Obviously, NKY does a ton of work. The Himmer Company does a ton of work. So we kind of touched on the why and the who, obviously. Is there anything else you want to add about this year's award and the honoree?
Boy, we just covered a ton
Yeah,
there.
I know we did.
No, look, we're thrilled for Paul and the whole Himmer Company. Like I said, they've just been a great partner. You touched on a thing there. When we bring clients to town and they're shopping and are working with partners, and these are big, scary, risky decisions for companies. Where are we going to open a new facility? Where are we going to build? Who can get us through that process? For us, knowing that we can put an organization like Himmer at the table to help shepherd a client through is a huge relief for us.
Yes, well, we are so excited to honor Paul and the Himmer Company in general on September 14th at annual dinner. But Lee, before I let you go, you guys at NKY, you guys have had a big year. I feel like I always say that when you come on. So tell us, what does the next year look like for you?
Yeah, well, I will tell you, we are taking inspiration directly from the Chamber and some work that you guys have done, and that is, we had this just light bulb moment when the Chamber did the trip to Charleston back in May, and Charleston talking about just this incredible community strategy that they have and their ability to really understand what drives the economy of their community and where the risks are in that. Right. So we're picking up that ball thanks to the inspiration from the Chamber, and we're going to do a lot of work around strategy this year, really with the idea of helping this community understand, hey, we're prosperous today, we're in a good spot today. How do we make investments? How do we minimize risk so that 5 years or 10 years from now, we still have a prosperous community? So we're going to do a lot of work in that space, along with the core economic development work that we do every day, which is really helping grow the economy by adding jobs and investment.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are doing. It's always exciting to see the things you guys do just literally right across the hall from us every day. But Lee, before I let you go, anything else to add?
No, I think that's it. We're on the cusp of bingo season here.
I'm excited.
It's mid-August, so.
I know by the time annual dinner rolls around, I think we'll be into right at the
we'll be
beginning of the
game
season.
2 or so. We're headed to game 2.
Maybe they'll be lighting up the Northern Kentucky Convention Center there on that Thursday. Maybe we'll be lucky. We'll get a nice orange glow to all the backgrounds of our pictures.
Indeed. No, it's exciting time. It's really exciting time in the community. We think about the Reds, bingo season coming on. I think the Reds, such a great season. Battling now, we're still in third place, but such a great season. The bingo's coming on. Taylor Swift being here this summer. There's just such fun, positive momentum in the community right now. It's a good time.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about that and all sorts of stuff at annual dinner. I know it's one of our favorite events of the year, just to kind of put a cap on a fiscal year that has had so much stuff happen. Yeah. Every year.
Got a bridge. They're going to be building the bridge.
I know.
It's 2 bridges actually.
Yeah, you've touched on a lot, and I like to ask this to a lot of people. You personally, what's been the most exciting thing that's happened this year?
Oh boy, honestly, it's really tough. You see Ovation coming out of the ground in a big way. You look at what Covington's doing with the riverfront. You think about the excitements of the teams like we just talked about, the 2 bridges. I just kind of you can work your way south into the communities. I don't know what the single most exciting thing has been. There just have been so many really positive advancements in the community this year. It's which is your favorite child, right? It's hard to say. I love it. We like them all.
Yeah, I agree. It is hard to pick, and we've got more exciting things coming. So, Lee, thank you so much for doing the podcast. I will see you at annual dinner on September 14th.
Very good. Thanks.
All right.
Congratulations to our members of the week. You can learn more about these businesses by following the Northern Kentucky Chamber on social media, where we will highlight one of these businesses each day. Now, let's meet our members of the week. Cincinnati Business Courier delivers breaking business news and gives readers access to the digital edition of their weekly print publication. Brian Hall's spiritual coaching has been traveling the globe for the past 20 years, providing spiritual guidance to clients and families. Circle's broadcast platforms provides a modern employee experience, driving employee productivity, engagement, and retention. Dynamic Catholic aims to re-energize the Catholic Church by developing world-class resources that inspire people to rediscover the genius of Catholicism. La Mega Media is connecting and engaging the Hispanic community through a dynamic mix of radio, print, events, and digital platforms.
Hi, everyone. Today on the podcast, we are joined by Shane Armstrong, who is the president of Master Provisions. Shane, welcome.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to be here and enjoy some time. I love getting on the front end. We get to talk a little bit about nonprofit world. That's so fun in my world. So
yes,
I love it. So thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, we are excited to have you. So I'm going to skip one question and go to the next. You are fairly new to Master Provisions. Yeah. You have been there since, I believe, the beginning of the year.
That's it, January.
Yes, so welcome to Northern Kentucky. I understand you're from kind of the area. You're from Ohio and have worked in Northern Kentucky, but we're happy to have you at Master Provisions.
Thank you.
So tell us about your organization.
Yeah, so Master Provisions, our mission, we serve God by connecting resources and needs. And so what that looks like started in 1994. Roger Babick is our founder. He has been there almost 30 years. We'll celebrate 30 years next year. And so he had a relationship with a friend of his who was a missionary in Ukraine. And basically what happened is Ukraine was going through all kinds of inflation and issues, and they were running short on clothing. And so he said, hey, Roger, will you go start clothing? Did a clothing drive, gathered tons and tons of clothes, literally tons and tons of clothes, and shipped them to Ukraine. From there, it grew into 9 other international partners that we partner with. 2013 was the transition that took place where we started to jump into food insecurities world. So we just realized we weren't doing a whole lot for local, and we wanted to help out in local world right here in Northern Kentucky, Greater Cincinnati. And so really what that looks like is what we do is we partner with local food distribution centers, large food distribution centers, because we have a small fleet of trucks. They'll call us, hey, here's what we have. And it's really kind of overproduced food and mispackaged food. Mm-hmm. So it's not ready to go to the dumpster. It's just overproduced, if you will. And so we go pick it up. We never know for sure what's on the truck. We open up the back of the truck and we pull it out, all of our volunteers, and we'll go through, we have over 4,000 volunteers that help us every single year. And so we will process everything that comes to our warehouse for quality control, expiration, all that type of stuff. And then what we will do is we will put that on what we call our line. And so we're partnered with over 250 nonprofits that they will come to our warehouse. They will get what they need, produce, canned goods, proteins, bread, just things that they need for their. So we partner with homeless shelters, food pantries, senior living centers, addiction recovery houses, soup kitchens, all that type of stuff. So we're kind of like the redistribution center, the backbone, if you will, and then we feed into that. Mm-hmm. So with that, really, there's about 75 to 80,000 people that rely on the ecosystem, if you will, that's tied to us from that distribution. So in a nutshell, that's what we do.
Yeah, making a huge impact on the lives of people in Northern Kentucky by providing that food. You guys work with so many partners as well. You said over 200.
Yeah.
So as you have taken on this role, how have you been settling? How have things been going?
It's going really, really well. It's interesting because you walk in, and so I've known about Master Provisions for almost the life of Master Provisions. I was a pastor at Lakeside Christian Church for a long time, and so we were one of the partners that would help volunteer and send things, do things. So I've known Roger for a long time. So I came on, and in reality, when I came on, I knew like a tip of the iceberg of like what Master Provisions does. And so I say every other week I'm finding a new rock to turn over and find out, oh, we do that. I didn't realize that's what we're a part of. And so maybe some of us are national, some of us local. But the cool thing is like you stated, I think right now exactly, we just had a new partner yesterday. So we're at 257 of nonprofit partners that will come to us. It's great to see what they're doing in our community, that we get to be a part of what they're doing throughout, like rubbing shoulders with people and loving on them and giving them the needs that they have every single day. because that is growing significantly every single day. It feels like so. So in general, it's going well. There's a lot going on, and so you're just trying to keep all the moving parts. And I'm trying to capture this one. Okay, I capture this. So I got an amazing team, amazing board, and the volunteers are there every single day. They're just doing an amazing job as well. So I'm so thankful for the people that I get to be a part of, and that I'm surrounded by, that just make what I do, easy. Inside of that, just get to be a part of that.
Yeah, that is so great. Well, great to hear that you guys are still moving and grooving over there. And you mentioned the need is expanding.
It is.
So I have written down that you guys last year in 2022 distributed 2.2 million pounds of food.
Yeah.
Tell us about the growth and demand that you guys are seeing.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's so many pieces that tie to that. We are on pace. What it looks like, mid-year-ish, is about 3.5 to 4 million pounds distributing food. And, the interesting thing through that is, what is that tied to? Some of all of it's need, obviously, but it's tied to inflation and the market, and it's tied to, the SNAP benefits went away in March, someplace inside of that. So the need has grown. And I think the trickiest part about this is, the need for everybody and what they have has grown, but the charitable giving has gone down a little bit. Now, I think, and what I feel, and people I come in contact with, they have a stronger desire to give, to serve, to do everything they can for their community than ever. It's just the dynamic of inflation and the dynamic of the market, and there's so many pieces that's tied to that. It just makes it a little bit more hard.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of our nonprofit partners, a lot of chamber members right now, a lot of them are seeing that increased need along with you guys. When you're talking to your community partners that you guys are working with to distribute food to them, what are they seeing? Are they seeing, what does that look like on their end?
Yeah. The interesting thing through that is they're seeing more families. And you see that's like young families and the things that they're going through. And again, it's not a thing that people aren't willing to go out and work and have jobs. They just can't meet. It's harder for them to meet monthly rent. It's hard for them to meet their monthly needs. And so they're all seeing these increases. Now, it's not for every one of these partners, 257 partners that we have right now. It's not as significant in every single area.
Right.
But one of our partners is, I'll just mention it as NKY Fuel. They do a great job over there of providing food for the students in a variety of different ways, kind of a grocery store feel. And now we're in summertime, but I was just talking to their director the other day, and he was just saying the need has continuously grown, and he anticipates it, coming in this fall being even more so than ever.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a pretty significant growth in a negative way. It's that the need is much higher.
Yeah. So you guys are working harder to serve more people in a better way. One of the things I want to ask is, for people who are listening to this and want to learn more about how they can get involved, what ways can people get involved, and how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, the best way is just go to our website, massprovisions.org. But there's a variety of things that you can do to get involved as a faith-based organization. Pray for us. We rely on that. That's a big deal. That's a foundation of who we are. The other thing is, if you want to serve and come and be a part of that, we have volunteers that are in our warehouse every single day, like 9 to 1, 9 to 2. We feed them every single day, which is kind of a fun thing. That's kind of we call that our volunteer retention center, right? It's like you stay for food, it's good. But there's ways that you can be a part of that. We send international mission trips. We do. There's so many different ways you can be a part of that. The other key piece that you can be a part of that is you can also give. We have a program that's called 1994 Connects. We started in 1994, and so we just kind of tied it to that. Right now, if you gave $19.94 a month, that helps over 100 people a month get a meal or clothing or whatever that looks like. So that's a significant piece. You can just give randomly or whatever, but you can do all that right off our website. That's the best way to get in contact with us.
Okay, well, great. Well, hopefully we can drive some people to get involved with you guys. One of the other things I wanted to talk about, you guys are growing, not just in terms of like expanding your distribution base, but you guys are growing in terms of like physicality.
Sure.
So tell us about what the future kind of looks like for Master Provisions.
It's super exciting to see what that looks like. Ideally for us, we are a location that we move product quickly. We don't want being a connector of resources and needs. We really want those resources in the community as soon as they can get there. However, there's times that we have certain things that there's not a huge shelf life, or the shelf life is much longer, that it will sit in our warehouse. And so we are growing in a variety of ways. So we have to expand. And so we're looking to expand inside of that. We just started our capital campaign. Our founder, Roger, he is in the middle of the private phase, if you will. We will go public with the campaign right after Labor Day. So we need help finding working on building our next home. And so we are really, really excited about the possibilities of that. We're in conversations all the time of like, what's the most efficient and wisest way to do that? Because we want every single dollar to go towards the mission of what we've been called to do, and not just things that, brick and mortar and pavement that you got to put on the ground. It's never fun to put money on the ground for asphalt and stuff, but it's stuff that you have to have. And so with that is core. That is a huge piece that we have to have. And so we are chasing really, really hard after figuring out what expansion looks like. So that's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah. Well, Shane, thank you so much for joining the podcast today. Before I let you go, is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that's it. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for what the Chamber does in and through the community too. It makes a huge, huge difference. Not only having the events that are going on, but really bringing everybody together, going, hey, we're heading in the same direction, trying to help Northern Kentucky and Greater Cincinnati be greater and better for our next generations that we hand this off to. So I'm so thankful for that. So thank you for having me in and let me share a little bit.
Yeah, of course. Well, hopefully we'll see you soon at one of our Chamber events. Shane, thanks again for joining the podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Shannon Schumacher, Account Executive, Kentucky Market Leader. At Horan, we champion bold innovation to help employers and individuals thrive. As an industry thought leader, we explore new horizons in healthcare, benefits, employee engagement, and wellness. We work harder to deliver all the strategic benefits, planning, and execution you expect from a true partner. And we do it with laser focus on your short and long-term outcomes to help manage your benefits while improving your employee experience.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's podcast featuring Master Provisions and NKY. Master Provisions Capital Campaign will be launching soon. For more information, you can check out their website and social media channels. And time is running out to register for annual dinner. Don't forget that you can get your tickets to this at nkychamber.com/annual dinner or nkychamber.com/events. Thank you again to our podcast sponsors, CVG, Crume Consulting, and Horan. Finally, if you're a member who would like to be featured on the Northern Kentucky Spotlight Podcast, or if you're someone who is interested in joining the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, please reach out to Lynn Ablin. And if you're someone who is interested in sharing your workforce strategies and resources on NKY at Work, you can contact Nancy Spivey. You can find their contact information on the screen in front of you or at our staff directory at nkychamber.com. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll talk to you next week.